Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the video number 2 in this series where we are building AI job assistant. What is this? So I was a bit hesitant in making this video because it's very boring stuff. The fun stuff, the coding stuff has not yet started. But I thought, just let's get done with it. So here we go. So what are we doing in this video? Actually, I've already done it. I'm just summarizing what I did. So I asked Claude to help me plan this project according to the modern day software development lifecycle. And we went back and forth with the chat and then ended up finalizing few documents. Well, there were many documents that were generated. Primarily there were 3 or 4 main ones. The first primary document and the absolute ground truth in this project is the PRD, which you can see here. It's called product requirements document. Now it is the what of the project. What is AI job assistant? It's not a how or why, it's what. So what is this? The goals, and then what are the non-goals? Also the user stories, like how will a user use it. Then the requirements, we define what is our MVP, meaning minimum viable product. The post MVP, so we have divided it into 2 broad phases, as you will see later on that there are sub phases in each of them. What is the success matrix? So how do you quantitatively analyze if your application is working as per the expectation? So the product metrics, and then there is eval criteria measured quantitatively, meaning something like this. So example, if there's a resume parsing function, when would we say that it succeeded? Like, what eval criteria do we have? So we will say if that is greater than or equal to 95% of the fields correct, then we will say that resume parsing is a success. Similarly, for the other features, there are a few risks and assumptions also that we have mentioned in this document, and also we should be very clear as to what this project is not and what we can add in the future, right? I'll just quickly go through this. So let's talk about the goals. So if this application or the project works, the applicant can upload a resume and have it parsed into structured data. That's one feature. Then the applicant can discover jobs that genuinely match to their actual background. Then see concrete, honest skill gaps between their resume and the roles that they want. Then they will get the tailor-made resume that improves their fit without fabricating anything. That is important. So we don't want to create some new skills on the resume which the applicant doesn't have, right? So that's the importance of this document. It clearly defines what we are building and what we are not building. Also, optionally, we would want the agent to create a cover letter. Now this was optional when I wrote this document, co-wrote this document, but now I'm thinking I'm gonna add it to the main the application. So, and then the applications can be submitted on their behalf, right? And also, lastly but not the least, stay in control. Review and approve at every key decision point. This is what the human in the loop is. What are the non-goals? We're not building any large-scale job scraping crawling infrastructure. That's beyond the scope. Not fully autonomous auto apply. It's not autonomous auto apply. At every key decisions will be prompted to give the feedback, and then the agent would do that. It's not a multi-user right now. There's no interview prep. There's no multi-language, and there's no other account integrations. And it is assumed that the format that we'll be using is mostly PDF. I've not yet figured out how do we gonna deal with the docx files. These are the user stories. So user stories in software engineering is a very common terminology for describing the features of the application. It goes like this. It goes in the first person, like, as an applicant, I upload my resume so that the assistant understands my experience without me re-entering it. So, and then the next is, as an applicant, I see a short list of relevant jobs. So this is from the point of view of a user, like what would a user experience while using this app, right? So these are the user stories. And they convert into the features of the application. We have staged our the project in two phases. The first is the MVP, the minimum viable product, where we want to see a very basic, minimal functioning application. It will not have most of the features, but it will have the basic features that will be like a backbone for this rest of the project. What it will have is we should be able to upload the resume. It should be parsed into structured data, and we can review it and send it back to the agent. And then also this, and the entire thing is traceable. So if there is an agent call, why am I saying agent? If there's a model call, it will be traced and observable, and the quality will be measured by the eval set that we will address in the later videos. So what's the rationale behind this MVP? Is like, it is proving if the resume intake is working end to end with the tracing and evals. So it exercises the whole tool chain on real value before adding more stages, right? So if we fail at this stage, there's no point in adding more features to it, right? So this is the basic nuts and bolts before we build the entire machinery. So after MVP, we will be entering into post MVP in this order. So job searching feature, then the gap analysis, tailored resume generation, tailored cover letter generation, agentic orchestration, then auto apply. Well, it will be gated by a human in the loop. Multi-user is maybe in the future, not sure. We'll see about it. And then a fully functional UI, front-end UI. So I'm not using the Streamlit. I'll try to use some web development skills to develop a front end. We'll try to. Let's see how it goes. So what are the success metrics? So if with the reduction time, so how do we reduce the time in application process? That's the one measure of it. How many applications are we tailoring and producing? If we'll give this app to some user, and then how would the user rate the usefulness of this application? What is the interview or callback rate after application, right? So does this actually help, is the whole point of this project. Well, the first point is to learn these skills of agentic AI, but then it will be a plus to actually have this useful by converting into some interviews or callbacks from the recruiters. And there are certain eval criteria. I'm not going to go into this in detail. We will take this when the development enters into this stage. There are a few risks and assumptions, and there are a few open questions. What's that? It's something. So it's this single user, English language. User has the right to apply to the roles surfaced. These are the assumptions that user has the right to apply to certain roles. So these are the assumptions. There were a few concerns initially while planning. Like, I asked Claude if we can search for jobs using any API. So it came up with this one, Adzuna API. Turns out that we cannot crawl the internet for LinkedIn and seek jobs because they are proprietary. They have their proprietary the broadcasts, the job boards. So we cannot access them by using some web search through the code, I think. So Adzuna API is an API call. It's sort of free tier, and it covers AU Australian jobs market as well. So we're gonna be using that, and it is actually very convenient to work with if we are doing agentic AI. There are a few open questions. How do you want to export the resume to? I think that's going to be PDF. Is there an auto apply? No, right now it's there's the human in the loop, and after the review it's going to apply it. And we have to see, like, is it the legality and feasibility of this as well. We'll see about this in future. What is not the scope of this project is right now suggest these resources or the courses for upskilling. We can add it in the future. For example, if there's gaps in the resume, the agent should be able to suggest the courses that the applicant can take so that they can upskill. There's no multi-user service. There's no authentication and billing. There's no mobile app. There's no recruiter or the employer side features. It is there's no non-English resumes. Okay, so the next planning document is called the context diagram. In this diagram, there are three things that we discuss: the user, and then the system that we're building, and the external world. So as you can see here in the diagram, there is this applicant, and they're interacting with this AI job assistant. It's sort of, in this diagram, it is a black box. We don't go into the details of what it consists of. For that, we have other documents. Here we just discuss about the interactions that are happening. So there's this applicant, and they have the access to this AI job assistant. Now AI job assistant has access to the outside world through these API calls. So there's, for job listings, there is Adzuna API call. For models, there is OpenAI that I'll be using. And then for the submitting applications, we have portals or the email, or again, this is right now it's vague, but as we build this stage, when we are submitting applications, then we will figure out what are these portals and how do we interact with them, right? So this is the context diagram. And in the software engineering term, it is C4 level 1. There are 4 levels, and that's why there's C4, context 4, I think. And then it is level 1. Level 1 is the most zoomed out view of the whole system. As in the table it mentions here. So the zoom is at the whole world level, and it shows our system. It's a one box here. Then there is people. So applicant comes in that category, and the external systems are these API calls. Right. Now, this sets basically the context of the project in a very zoomed out manner. So let's go into this AI job assistant project and see how the flow takes place. So this flow diagram is precisely that. Quickly, I'll just tell you what we are seeing here. So there's an applicant. They apply to this to the roles by passing the resume and their target role. So for example, it's going to be AI engineer in Melbourne or Sydney, and then along with that they will submit the resume. It will go to a parser. So this parser is our first MVP. It's gonna take that and convert into a structured resume. The user, which is here, human in the loop, is gonna look at it and say, hey, it looks right, and then gonna give it back. If there is corrections, they will correct it, and then it's gonna go back to the parsed data set. After that, after the approval from the MVP, it's gonna go outside of this MVP boundary. It's going to interact with the Adzuna search job listings. The agent's going to fetch those listings. User is going to pick the job, selected job, and then the agent will find the gaps. After finding the gaps, there will be like the skill gaps. It can suggest some upskilling projects and then give it back to the applicant, right? The gaps and match data would be used to tailor the resume and a cover letter. And then again, it's gonna give it back to the human in the loop there, and then the human will review it. Right, and after the approval, the documents will be sent back to the applicant. So that's the whole thing. Now, in the future, there is something like auto apply feature as well, which will prompt the user to apply or not. After the confirmation from the user, the agent will submit the application and the acknowledgement will be sent back to the applicant. So this is the whole flow of the events in this project. Next up is the roadmap. Now, how are we going to build this project? So I have cut down this whole project into pieces, into phases. We are calling phase A to H. In phase A, it's just going to be a walking skeleton with the FastAPI, the Postgres database, the Langfuse for the monitoring and evals, and the Docker. And the target for this phase A would be to basically see if the Docker is up and running, and the OpenAI call is working, and we can see it in the Langfuse traces, and the CI is green on a PR. So we are able to do the continuous integration and see if that is working as well. And the rest of the steps are resume parsing, then the HITL, review gate, job search, gap analysis, tailored resume, the agent orchestration, auto apply, and productionize. So we'll talk about these, the rest of the phases in the subsequent videos in the series. I've already started with phase A and have had some success with that. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. So this was the whole planning phase of this project. I'm going to publish this project on GitHub. Right now it is private. I'm going to do it soon, so that you can also fork or clone this repository and work alongside with me. So if you are happy to learn more about this project and want to follow along this journey, I would suggest you drop a subscribe and a like, and I would really appreciate if you can drop a comment stating how you liked this video and if there was any learning that you had at all. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.